Jazeera taking
Is that the
over.
correct pronunciation of it, or is it now Al Jazeera?
Al Jazeera.
I like that a
Yes.
lot better.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, they've such cutting edge, such friendly, American friendly news all the time. No matter where you go, that's all you see with Al Jazeera, just nothing but pro America, pro, Constitution, rights of Americans. You know, is
But
that
wait a
right?
minute, is that Al Jazeera in Arabic or Al Jazeera in English?
Well, let's check out the Al Jazeera English site. How if we do that? And as we go there, we go to aljazeera.com.
AlJazeera.com.
And what do we see
And,
get Al Jazeera here?
and it looks, very moderate.
It does. Especially with that first picture up there. Oh, who's this guy up here? Fame activist Noam Chomsky says intellectuals have a moral duty to hold centers of power to account.
Yeah, Noam Chomsky.
Oh yeah, he's a right wing,
He's an
pro-America
extremist for sure. Yeah.
for America, right?
Yeah, he's a Tea Party guy. Yeah, you like him. You like him talking about linguistics.
Yeah, I like his lit. I like his
Okay, you like his linguistics work.
Yeah.
But do you like his anti-Americanism, his anti-Semitism, his anti-Israelism,
No.
his pro-Soviet, pro-Russian, pro-Contra?
That's not
mean,
really.
Every communist dictatorship on the planet he supported.
Well, they have a right. They have a right to, say those things over here, don't they?
Well, he does have a right to say them over here, which is why he lives here and not in one of those countries that he seems to love so
that's
much.
right.
Yeah, I noticed that he doesn't actually want to live under a communist dictatorship. He just thinks he likes to talk about it from the safety of the United States of America, where he actually has First Amendment rights.
Well, it's kind of interesting as you scroll through this page. I really don't see anything that says anything bad about Islam whatsoever, or any of the recent attacks that have occurred, because we do have other sites which we can actually look at to go verify, because there are some news sources out there that actually do report what's going on in the Middle East in an accurate way.
Oh, there are. And I'm not sure if you want to get to that first or if you want to take a caller.
Oh, we have a
because
caller.
We do have a caller,
All right.
actually, who is more liberal-minded, and he might have some
this Robert?
observations. Yeah. So
Okay.
Bob, yeah. Actually, he identified himself as Liberal Bob.
Oh, Liberal Bob.
Yeah.
All right, LB.
Yeah, we'll call you LB. LB, you're on the line with Mark, who
Give
is
it your
no
best shot.
longer disembodied because
your best
Tom
shot.
had to go.
Okay, actually, it's LDB. That's Liberal Democrat.
Oh, LDB.
LDB?
I kind of like that. I like that.
Okay.
So take your best shot.
Okay, you're officially now a radio personality in your own right.
Now, I pale in comparison to you people. You do a great job on your show, by the way.
Okay.
Thank
well,
you very much.
All right, here's the butt. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. I got to give you a lot of credit, though, because I listen to these boring sports shows, and
Yeah.
then after a while, how many times can you listen to them?
I can't listen to him once.
And there's some political stuff in the afternoon not stuff. There's political dialogue in the afternoon that I enjoy. But listen, let me make one point,
Okay.
because I listened to you prior to the 5 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Good.
I find a real hypocrisy in what you're saying about whatever this deal is going down with Thor.
Right.
Because I think that Dianne Feinstein, probably her husband, and I think Rupert Murdoch are Jewish. And I don't think they would sell out their souls just for money to give over to a radical radio network, a voice in the United States against the United States. And I'd just like to ask you
Well, first of all, do you believe Al Jazeera is a radical radio network in the first place? I'll just a straight up question. I won't try to lead you into it. Do you think it's radical at all?
Well, I don't know enough about it, Mark. So I can't-
Okay. Well,
Put it this way. When Osama bin Laden released his tapes that he wanted to get his message out to the American people and to everybody in the West, telling them that jihad was coming their way, he sent them to Al Jazeera. Al
Okay.
Jazeera broadcast the murder of Daniel Pearl, on television for hundreds of millions of Arab viewers.
BJ, don't direct your question to me. Direct it to Dianne Feinstein,
Well, we're trying.
Richard Bloom, and Rupert Murdoch, who are Jewish.
Well,
And they
I don't
shouldn't
know
have-
if Rupert Murdoch is Jewish or not, but he's not part of this deal with Current TV and Al Gore anyway. And I don't think anybody's religion has anything to do with it. I think it has to do with being American,
Right.
and not with it comes down to
Yeah, pure negligence.
and that's what
right.
it comes down to.
And here's the point also, Bob, is that, and if they were just a different, news opinion, a liberal, opinion, I could actually care less. Okay, I live with a Democrat, so, I listen to it every day, so it doesn't really bother me. And here's the point: if a Canadian network wanted to come in here and do it, I'd actually have no problem with it. But there is a screening process to make
Right.
sure that they don't have, bad people. And
But what you're giving me is the fact that Dianne Feinstein, Charles Schumer, who are two very, very credible Jewish senators,
it has nothing to do
It
with
has nothing to do with that. The only
Judaism.
reason why we brought up Dianne Feinstein to begin with is because she's a prominent senator
Right.
involved in intelligence. Okay,
Yeah.
her committee.
I
So
thought her husband was an investor with Al Gore.
yes, right, and he is married to a prominent senator who has influence over Homeland Security and intelligence issues in the United States
let me-
Congress.
well, let me rephrase
and
it.
I
How do
think
you-
that is a conflict of interest right there when it comes to selling your interests to a foreign government.
Okay, so you
And
don't
her
think-
religion has nothing to do with it. It's her position as a senator, not what her religion is. And whatever her interest is philosophically or morally, or his, as far as their religion is concerned, I don't really care. It's about being American that I care about.
You don't believe what you just said, do you?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
do.
I mean, Charles Schumer and Dianne Feinstein agreed to support Chuck Hagel today. You know what was important about that? The fact they were Jewish. The fact wasn't that they were Democratic.
That's apples and oranges here, my friend.
That's
What we're-
apples and
what we're
oranges.
talking
This-
about is, for example, all right, you were in the military, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you have to go through security clearances, correct, to do whatever you need to do,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And what are the parameters of security clearances? Is it not associations who you deal with to see if you can be influenced unduly to compromise other people's positions? Is that not the point of a security clearance?
Presume so, yeah. I don't know if they ever did that to me, but I presume that's part
Well,
of it.
they
yeah.
did it to me. I went through a nuclear power school and all that good stuff, and I went through a massive background check, a massive, investigation of everything I did, all the way back. They had the FBI come down, talk to my friends, talk to my coaches, talk to my associates. Is this guy a good guy? Does he have any known associate with communism? Does he have any known associate with bad guys? Is he a radical leftist? Is he a socialist? Is he this or what? Or is he a Republican? Is he a Democrat? What color underwear does he wear? That's where it got down to. It got
And what
ridiculous.
color were they?
They were briefs, not boxers. Okay.
Mark.
But the point being.
Yeah, you're trying to bring up all this Jewish stuff, and I don't want
No.
to go there, and I think he's trying to bait us with that.
No.
so.
I don't think he's trying
Yeah,
to.
he is.
Well, here's the point being. The point being, what I'm trying to get to is this has everything to do with national security because this group, Qatar, however you want to pronounce it, it funds directly terrorism. They threw a birthday party for a terrorist, a convicted terrorist out of Israel who bashed the head in of a little 4-year-old girl. Okay? And they celebrated, and they threw a party, a lavish party for him. And it's known in all the circles and all the inside circles that this group supports terrorism on every front. So
Well-
when we know that, why would we want? I could care less if it was Al Gore, George Bush, or whoever.
That's right.
Whoever was going to sell that entity, Current TV,
Yeah.
to whatever person, I would say this is absolutely no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
don't do that.
And I opposed the Dubai ports deal
Mm-hmm.
under George Bush, regardless of the fact that it was a Republican president and Republican members of the administration who were advocating for it. So it's not a Democrat or a Republican issue as far as I'm concerned. It's a national security American issue, and that's it.
DJ, make a quick response. in deference to you, I don't mean Jewish. I mean Jewish American or American Jewish. I'm Italo-American.
We get it. We
know what
we don't
yeah.
talk. Yeah, we know what you meant.
Yeah,
So don't worry about it.
okay, thank you. We know what you mean. But I don't think that, I think when people are voting, they're voting, especially when they're in the Congress, I think they're voting as Americans
Right.
and representatives of the American people and not as representatives of their faith.
Actually, one of the biggest. Here, I'll give you an example, Bob. Is when we were in Orlando and we exposed the Orlando Mosque funding Hamas down there.
Mm-hmm.
The one where Mohammed Morsi was actually holding a fundraiser for Hamas via George Galloway, and Galloway was
That's
giving
right.
bags full of
That's
cash
right.
to Hamas.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be any more obvious.
And right after you exposed that, he got kicked out of the country, didn't he?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
right after we exposed that, Galloway got kicked out of the country. Well,
Yeah.
under this administration, got brought back in. But
Yeah.
in their defense, the reason they brought him back in was because he got elected PM again over there.
Right.
But that's another issue altogether.
Yeah.
But the point being was that Mohammed Morsi was also, the faith-based advisor to both a Republican and a Democrat governor here in Florida. He was the faith-based advisor, and out of that whole thing, one of our biggest supporters out of the whole thing coming out of that whole mess was actually a Democrat out of California who was on the congressional committee who we pushed it up to, who actually got this thing exposed. And they were, and I don't even know if he's Jewish or not. And I had nothing to do with it. That, that argument never came up. It's like, are you Jewish or who's supporting this or
Well,
not?
you know what? I noticed
never
that
even thought
nobody
about it.
ever asks, are you a Christian?
Yeah.
They only ask if it's to do with somebody Jewish. They
Yeah.
never ask if it's somebody
No, that's
Christian.
true. That's not true.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
is.
well-
Yeah, well, think about the last time you
Well,
ever heard of
well,
somebody
I
of
get-
a Christian having dual loyalty.
Yeah. That's a good point, CJ.
Let
But
me ask one more question.
sure, go ahead.
Somebody ever brought up, you bash the Democrats for their relationships with Arabics and jihadists. Have you ever spent any time on talking about the fact that 17 out of the 18 of those who were involved in 9/11 were Saudis?
Yeah.
And the biggest supporters of the Saudi regime in the world, in the developed world, was the Bush administration.
We talk about it all the
We
time.
we have brought that up many
Many
times. Many
And
times.
it actually
Yeah.
goes a lot deeper than just a Bush administration.
Yeah,
It
we
goes,
bring it up in the Republican Party
Party all
as
the
well.
time.
We go after individuals in the Republican Party who
Some
cozy
pretty
up to the Muslim Brotherhood, and we expose them as well all the time.
some pretty prominent figures.
Yeah.
I mean, so on the top of the list, probably the most powerful people in the Republican Party, we go after all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Sharia the Threat to America book. It's
Yeah.
it's in there. It's written down.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
That's for
you've
years
heard
we've
us. You've heard us go after Grover Norquist. You've heard us go after Governor Chris Christie.
We're nobody's best friends.
Yeah.
they all hate us.
Not even each other.
We're equally loathed by the Republicans and the Democrats.
Everybody hates us.
Well, the problem is, Bob, and here's a real issue, Bob, is that this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is purely a national security issue,
Yeah.
and they are inundated. They are tied in with the highest powers on both sides of the aisle. That's the reason you have Al-Amoudi. He was faith-based advisor to both Clinton and Bush.
Right.
Both of them.
Yeah.
How do you become a faith-based advisor to Clinton and Bush? Well, you get it by your contacts, by your associations. You just don't walk in there and say, hey, listen, hey, CJ, I'd like to be the faith-based advisor to you, and you're the President of the United States. You just don't walk into the door. You have to be referred and asked.
Wait a minute now. I'm the President of the United States. Let's think about this a little bit.
Off to Gitmo for you, Mark.
Begin at the beginning.
But the point being is, and Al-Amoudi, he pled guilty. Let me rephrase that. He pled guilty to being a terrorist, of being a member of the Muslim
Yeah.
Brotherhood, of being an operative. So
Yeah.
how does a person who gets to that high position of power next to the president, right-hand person of the president, both
Yeah.
Republican and Democrat, how does
Yeah.
that person get up there?
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. That's
That's the whole point of what we do.
It's the whole
and
point of
that's
what we
what
do,
we're here
right.
to expose.
Exactly.
What do you think about that, Bob?
Well, you guys have overwhelmed me with facts.
Okay, all right.
Okay. No, keep listening. I know you listen often, but keep listening. You'll hear us go after everybody. I mean, we're equal opportunity.
You just caught us before the election on Obama because we just felt that he was the worst on national security, and that was our point.
And the economy and everything else. Yeah.
But we've been going equally as hard at both of them.
Yeah.
All right, bud.
Right.
All right.
All right,
Thank
take it
you.
easy.
LDB. Thanks for calling.
All right. Well, that's good. 888-565-1470. And you can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, WNN. Download the iHeartRadio app. And
Which is so easy.
It's
CJ
actually-
can do it.
it's really kind of cool. I mean, I do a lot of technical stuff, and the audio coming through that is actually brilliant.
It's really good.
It's
It's
really
better.
good.
Yeah, I've listened to it at home, and it's better than listening to the radio.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's just crystal clear. And you can now just plug it into your car stereo. It's cool. It's really great. It's really
Okay,
great.
now you have to show me how to do that.
It's that little thing's called the speaker out, and
It's
you just
not
plug it
the
right
same.
in there.
Is that the same plug that you use to charge your phone?
No, it's
No.
on the other. It's when you plug your headphones into. You know where you plug your headphones into? You can plug it in your headphones and take a cord and plug it right into your radio.
You plug it in here.
Yeah, plug it right in the top.
So is there a special kind of plug that you need that goes into
Well, it
the
all
radio?
depends. Now, there's two types of things you can do with that. What you can do is, and when I showed somebody this, they were like blown away by it.
Okay.
If you have, those little holes you have on the newer cars, they have little jack holes that look just like the hole for your earbuds.
Okay.
And you can plug it directly in from there, right from your phone out
Okay.
into your car stereo, and you can listen to your phone on the radio. So you can listen to your phone calls, everything else.
Okay, you're
If
going to
you-
have to show me
and if
where
you
that
don't-
is in my car.
And if you don't have the little hole in for your car to put that in there, and if you have a cassette player, what older car, you can take that, and there's actually a connection that converts that into an actual like little cassette player, and you stick it in there, and you listen to your audio that way.
Okay, well, you're going to have to show me that, and while you're showing me that, you can change the clock in my car because it's been
You and my wife.
it's been an hour ahead since daylight savings
It's
changed.
blinky. Everything's blinking in your house too, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was playing us a song for that.
But we were talking about Al Jazeera, Al Gore Zera all day today.
Al Gore
and
Zera.
we're actually going to contact the congressman, and we're going to get that pushed out and try to get them on air and try to get this whole issue.
I think that would be great.
You know, because this is very disgusting. It's very disturbing, like I said earlier, on many, many, many levels. I mean, not just for the broadcast phase, but just, the influence operations that they're going to be running off of this is just going to be amazing. And it doesn't matter who's in office. They're going to run them on both sides. They're
Of
going to run them
course,
Democrat
of course.
or Republican. So.
And think about all the viewers who are lulled into a false sense of security by watching this.
Right.
And then think about those influence people who you're talking about. Oh, and hi, kids. Today we have Al Jazeera
Jazeera.
coming to do show and tell for,
Right.
our grade 2 class and tell us about journalism in America.
And if you want to become
I
a
mean-
journalist, come out of here and we'll help you come over
Yeah,
here. So,
yeah. I
And
mean-
it's going to be insidious, just like it is with the Muslim Brotherhood going into universities around on campuses, proselytizing that their viewpoint is nonviolent, that's this
Except
and this
for the
and this.
signs that they
Yeah.
hold up that says,
Except that they,
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got to talk.
Except
Yeah, except for our little Reliance of the Traveler
except
books.
for our Reliance of the Traveler.
Which is,
Yeah.
hey, CJ, this is the book that we've been talking about.
Yep, I got my very own Reliance.
And go to page XBIII, which is 18.
Lucky 18.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And if you could read for us, because I'm going to make a segue into this thing right here.
Are we going to do our
Yeah, well, we'll come
our
back.
song?
We'll come back to it in a minute. Read. Oh,
It's
wanna do it?
going on! It's going on! Here comes the song!
And this is Al Jazeera's message.
My Sharia. My Sharia. Never gonna stop or give it up. Killing infidels, always got it planned. Underhand, give Allah a yell. Whoa! My
It's
Sharia.
my favorite part right here.
My Sharia.
Yeah, I wish we could make that louder than everything else
Yeah.
because I just love it when he yells.
It's the My
Yeah.
Sharia part by Mohammed Morsi, graduate of the
Yeah.
University of Southern California and doctorate,
Yeah.
and now president of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt.
Yeah.
But anyway, that first paragraph, just read that first paragraph aloud, and because you have a better reading voice than I do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you
But, okay, there is no doubt that this translation is a valuable and important work, whether as a textbook for teaching Islamic jurisprudence to English speakers or as a legal reference for use by scholars, educated laymen, and students in this language.
And at the bottom of it, there's the last three people. In fact, read the last three of the people who signed it, who actually wrote
Signed
that.
by the president of the International Institute of Islamic Thought,
Okay.
member of Islamic Fiqh Academy at Jeddah,
Okay.
and president of the Fiqh Council of North America.
Okay.
And so this is titled on top as Report of the International Institute of Islamic Thought.
Oh, well, and now on the other page, it's if you get the book, Reliance of the Traveler, on the other side has the International Institute of Islamic Thought, and they have it actually in Arabic and with actually the signed signatures on it. And the other pages, you go through it and you see it's also certified, codified by Al-Azhar University, which if you know anything about Islamic jurisprudence, it is the Harvard, Yale, all the Ivy League schools wrapped up into one, and then more, as far as their authority on Islamic jurisprudence. So it's been certified in America now, and by about Al-Azhar. Now these two little things down here that I had you read, CJ, the member of the Fiqh Council of North America, the president of the Fiqh Council of North America,
Yeah.
is. Are you familiar with the Fiqh Council and what it does?
That's that determines like all the Islamic law and the English.
Right. They are the jurisprudential body of the fiqh is Islamic. Who determines Islamic
Right,
law?
so
Who
if you had,
interprets Islamic?
if you had any kind of questions or disputes or scholarly points to do with being a Muslim in this country
you get some
versus
clarification,
and
yeah.
you need clarification, and the reason why you need clarification is because you're living in a country that is not governed by the Sharia.
Right. So what is fiqh and what is not? You know what is, and what is.
So it's like
what's
the
one of
highest authority.
It's the highest authority in America to give, essence to what Islam is in America.
Right.
Okay. Now, also the International Institute of Islamic Thought. Are you familiar with that organization, CJ?
The International Institute of Islamic Thought. Is that the one in Egypt?
No, that's one here. It's actually, if
That's
you look
one
up here,
here. These are all here.
Yeah, if you look at the address up in the upper right-hand corner, it actually has a PO box. What does that PO box say?
On this page?
Yeah, right below the right here. This one right here.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. What's that say?
That's really tiny writing.
You can't read it.
Me.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I didn't mean
No,
to.
it's in Herndon, Virginia.
It's in Herndon, Virginia.
Yeah.
Now, you do a little research on the International Institute of Islamic Thought, and what you come to find out is, in essence, they're a publishing house. They distribute all the publishing material to all the mosques throughout the country, and all the, anything to do with Islamic centers or anything. You walk into any of them. I will bet you cannot walk into a mosque, an Islamic, anything to do with Islamic thing without seeing the International Institute of Islamic Thought book publishing house being published in those mosques. In fact, it's 90% of the publishing in America for textbooks, anything to do with Islam-related material.
And am I allowed to walk into
Yeah.
a mosque?
Yeah, I do it all the
myself?
time.
Well, yeah, but you're a man.
No, women can do
Is
it too.
there like a
But
separate
there's- it
entrance,
all
and do I
depends.
have to have my head covered and all that kind of stuff?
No,
or-
actually, no, you don't. In fact, they recognize you as an American.
Right.
They're actually very open, and you should actually, everyone out there listening should actually go into a mosque. They're actually very welcoming. They're very open. They're very, they want to interact with you.
Okay, well, it took me many, many, many years to walk into a church.
Right.
Okay.
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 All right.
And I'm used to that now because I have so many good Christian friends, and they invite me to go to services with them sometimes for special occasions, and I do, and I don't have a problem with it. But the mosque thing?
Yeah, but I've actually walked into a bunch of mosques, And they're
I
actually
know
very,
with your camera.
With my camera,
and
too.
And you say, where do I set up?
Where do I set up? I just come in there boldly. So, hey, where can I set this piece of equipment up because I want to film this. And sometimes they let me do. Sometimes they get the heck out of here.
Right.
But the point being is, like I said, they're typically pretty friendly. Yet, when you go out and you look at the literature and the material that are on the side shelves, which is always a good thing to do, go into the libraries and go in and see what literature they're selling.
Right.
And you start picking it up and you're reading some of the most, oh my God, god-awful stuff.
Really?
And majority of it's coming from the International Institute of Islamic Thought.
Okay.
So, now, once you look at that and you realize these guys who are the primary legal body of Islam in the United States and the primary distributors of educational material to schools, to everything,
To schools and to prisons.
every
right?
place, are the primary movers of this information, which is why now what we're doing here with Al Jazeera, the reason I'm trying to tie all this in is because now you have another body coming in on top of that to actually say, no, we're peaceful, we're not doing anything bad, we're doing everything. But at one side, yet while on their other side, in the material that they're pushing out to their people, they're saying something completely 180 opposite.
Okay. Okay.
So this is what I'm talking about, the danger of Al Jazeera, because right now, what we're finding out right today, going into university and schools, is the Fiqh Council, which is, I mean, we've been
Right.
reading, just nasty stuff, kill apostates, stone homosexuals.
Yeah.
If you, I got pages of it.
I know.
It's just disgusting stuff. And if you're a liberal, you should be outraged by the stuff that's in this book. I mean, literally outraged.
No, they're outraged by the fact that you would dare to read it and to say that there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm the enemy because I'm the one telling you the information. Read it for yourself. This is not Mark saying this. This is not CJ saying this. This is not Tom saying this. These are the Islamists saying this from the highest authority in America. And the ones who are distributing and publishing textbooks and everything to everybody to listen to.
Okay, and then they get their own TV station, right?
And now,
they start
now,
broadcasting
exactly.
this material, right?
Now they're going to come out and say, oh, no, the Sharia just means the path. Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, no, what they're going to do is they're going to broadcast lots of stories about Israel and how evil Israel is, okay? They're going to broadcast lots of stories that reflect negatively on anything that the United States of America does to protect its own national security,
Right.
and put that in a bad light as well. And that's what they're going to show people. And they're going to do it in a moderate and entertaining way so that you don't even notice that you're being influenced by it.
The same way they do it in universities.
And so, this would be the kind of channel, school teachers would probably show it in school to their high school students or something, the way they show CNN. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that's what the real danger is. Because kids are going to get sucked into it, and then once the local people know, the local real Sharia adherent people know
Right.
that this area has now been saturated by the moderate view of Islam.
Right.
Now we're ready to go in and start picking
Picking
you
it
off.
apart. Exactly. 100% right. And like I said, I've seen this happen personally in person. We've actually down in Orlando in the University of Central Florida, walking in there, and Jamal Badawi walks in there. Mm-hmm. Now, I have to say, probably 99.9999% of Americans did not know who in the heck Jamal Badawi is. Mm-hmm. Now, come out to find Jamal Badawi is a board member, a very prominent board member on the Fiqh Council of North America.
Uh-oh. That's a big bad wolf guy.
It's a big bad wolf guy because he's the one who certified and codified this book as law.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. If we're going to talk about big bad wolf guys, okay, the Saudis are some big bad wolves themselves.
Yeah, I
Okay?
agree.
And in the last hour, we were talking about Rupert Murdoch, okay, owning, almost 20%.
Yeah, he's interested in spreading his network in a capitalistic way, and he's going into
But
bed
he's
with
not spreading his network. He bought an interest in somebody else's network. He's never, as a non-Muslim, going to be allowed to spread
I know.
his message
I
in
agree.
Saudi Arabia, whatever that may happen to be today. Okay,
Yeah, he's about making
I
money.
don't know. So
Right. And then he allows the interest of Alawi bin Talal to come in. If you don't know who Alawi bin Talal is, he is actually the person who came into, if you remember, right after 9/11.
Right after 9/11,
he came
with
in and tried to
Rudy
give
Giuliani.
right,
Yeah.
tried to give a $10 million check.
And Giuliani said, "Get out of town."
Yep.
Yeah.
And so because he
But
wanted,
what do you think about that kind of hypocrisy? I mean, we had
this is what I'm
we
talking
had
about.
liberal Bob on the line a little while ago talking about, hypocrisy. I mean, is that a real hypocrisy, or do we just take somebody like Rupert Murdoch and look at him and say, well, he's just a businessman and we have no expectations of him having any sense of morality anyway? So let him go ahead and do what he wants to do.
Well, here's a point about.
But then do we support his other products that we may happen to enjoy or not? I mean, would we boycott his American news stations and say, you know what, we think this guy is rotten.
Well, no,
we
no.
don't support what he's doing, and therefore we're not going to support Fox News advertisers.
Well, and
I
that's the
mean,
point
that's
being
what
is,
I'm asking. That's
is-
the question I'm throwing
and
out
now
there.
you feel the weight of both hammers coming down on your head,
Yeah.
the liberal left and Fox
Yeah.
News coming down on your head.
Yeah.
And that's the danger, of all that. But we're still going to still say the truth, whether they come down on us or not. Hey, that's.
Well, I would like to hear if anybody's out there who has an opinion on that at 888-565-1470.
Mm-hmm.
Is, Rupert Murdoch a hypocrite as the primary owner of Fox News, which is, basically a conservative
News Corp.
American.
News Corp, actually.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then owning almost 20% in a Saudi Arabian television channel.
And also
which-
allowing a radical, Hamas, a terrorist supporter like Alawi bin Talal to own, the second
Well, in
largest
fact,
stockholder of Fox
yeah,
News.
but all Sharia-compliant Muslims are terrorist supporters anyway, through the fact that they're required to give charity, a portion of which is given for the jihad. So whether
1/7.
you like it or not,
Oh, which is actually in the.
which is
it's
actually in this book,
in this
and I
book.
know that because you've read it. So
It's actually in the Islamic law book.
that's right. So,
1/7 of your money has to go to
yeah,
terrorism.
So all Sharia-compliant Muslims are terrorist supporters.
Well, I actually come to this point where if they're collecting zakat money inside the mosque,
Right.
and they're using the zakat committee to push out that money out via the world, which
Right.
a lot of them do. I'd almost say an overwhelmingly vast majority of them do. What does that say about the mosque here in America? I don't care. I'm just talking about the organizational wise. If 1/7 of your money is going to fund jihad,
Right.
what does that say about the mosque?
Right.
Where is the outrage towards these mosques? Listen, guys, 1/7 of your money is actually going to jihad.
Right.
Where's that?
Right.
Where's that outrage?
Well, now this Zakat committee, is that what you call it?
Yeah, what they do is they collect the money and
Okay,
they
now is there a separate one for each country?
they actually have it all spelled out for you in Islamic law. You go to zakat. Actually,
Okay.
one of the 8 ways of zakat is actually
Mm-hmm.
you have to give it to people who distribute the zakat.
Okay. Now is the Fiqh Council of North America in charge of
No, it's
that?
actually
or
well.
does the
in a-
Zakat committee have to report to them, or
No, the Zakat committee typically is separate from the Fiqh Council, so it's actually a separate entity in and of itself that actually distributes zakat money to different areas. Some of it goes to the poor,
but
some
the
of it
Fiqh
goes.
Council tells them where it's supposed to
The
go
Fiqh Council sets the law of saying
of
what,
how it's apportioned.
Well, actually, it's actually one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Zakat is one of the 5 pillars of Islam.
Right.
So zakat is actually distributed in a determined way by
Right.
Islamic law, jurisprudence. A lot of this law that.
But who does the oversight to make sure that, X percent goes for whatever it's supposed to go for, and
The Zakat committee.
yeah, the Zakat committee, and so there's no oversight of them. Huh.
And it goes and a lot of these zakat committees are actually overseas
Right.
in foreign areas, and
Right.
they actually.
And that's how everybody got in trouble in the Holy Land trial,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
now it's all starting to come together because
Yeah.
it's that old adage: follow the money.
Follow the money.
Once the money comes in and it goes out, it's like what happened with George Galloway in Orlando. The
Right.
money came in,
Right.
it went out to. That wasn't zakat money. That was just
Right.
other donation money. Now you can make other donation money as much as you
Which
want
is
to.
separate.
Separate.
Right.
And so they gave it to, the. I forget the name of the organization they gave it to. Mahdi Bray's organization.
Oh,
So Mahdi
okay.
Bray, and then Mahdi Bray gave it to
Yeah.
a
It was
charity.
going for Hamas,
And
and
then
everybody who
eventually it
gave
got
it
to-
knew. No, but everybody who gave it knew that it was going to go
No,
for
yeah.
Hamas.
They knew it.
Yeah.
They knew it.
Yeah,
And they handed bagfuls of cash to Hamas.
yeah.
You know, and everybody's looking at this and with their mouth, agape, going, "Oh my God!" And then we come back and we ask Mr. Morsi, the head of the mosque in Orlando. We ask him, "Why did you give the money to George Galloway, who gave it to Hamas?"
Right.
Oh, my advisors
Oh, it
told
was
me.
a misunderstanding.
Oh, I didn't know who he was. I got bad advice. Okay, well, we know
Right.
that's a lie because he was sitting there at the table and we had him on videotape saying this. He goes, you pick him up in the airport, you knew exactly who he was. You didn't have a chance to do a Google search on him? Give me a break. I mean, you do a simple
They know
Google
what
search.
they want to know.
Yeah, well,
They know what they want to know. Just like Al Gore knows what he wants to know.
yeah.
He knows who he's in bed with.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't
And he
align
doesn't
with,
care.
who aligns with his ideologies.
Yeah.
I mean, how many Al Jazeera aligns with your ideologies, Mr. Gore? And we can understand Glenn Buck not aligning with your ideology, but Al
A
Jazeera
Persian Gulf
does.
nation whose primary source of income is oil. And this is Mr.
Beyond the oil.
Environmentalist? No, because he presents himself
Yeah,
as
okay,
that's
okay.
the most important thing to
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
Okay? That's where he got all his prizes and everything else and got everybody bowing down to him.
Beyond his hypocrisy.
After he
right.
lost the election. And so who does he cozy up to? Like one of the wealthiest oil nations on the planet?
Right. Exactly, and also that's just a hypocrisy angle, not let alone that the Qatari government, on one hand, they're all lovey-dovey to the United States, and on the other hand, they're calling us terrorists on the other side to the Saudis, everything. They're playing both sides of the same hand.
Well,
the
of course
Qataris
they are. Of course they are, because the ruling family wants to make sure that they don't get overthrown.
And also-
it's the same thing like the dangerous game that the Saudis play in their own country.
And these countries, the Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all these are the biggest welfare states in the world, and all they're doing is producing in their universities, people who study Islamic studies. And so they're creating this dependency government, they're creating this whole thing which leads to, according to Islamic law and Sharia teachings, ends up leading to jihad, to killing non-believers of Islam.
Well, they have the vested interest in keeping everybody on public welfare because they don't want
That control.
they want control. Yeah,
Like
and
Thomas
that's why they
Paine.
import skilled people to their countries, because once you get yourself educated and once you work at skilled work,
Right.
and you have to think for yourself to do that, then you might start questioning your government, your media, your religion,
Exactly.
and then whoever has an interest in keeping you where you are loses control.
And
And
also-
that's the main reason why women are not allowed to get educated or to have
Keep
any
'em stupid.
freedom of movement, in the Islamic countries.
And also they get their whole honor and self-worth by the control and subjugation of their women. And plus, on top of that,
Plus, they get to have slaves.
and that's
from-
where I was going. That's
Yeah.
exactly where I was going. And
Yeah.
plus, the slave trade inside of Qatar and Dubai, all these areas just go Google it, okay? And you're not going to see Mark talking about it, Tom talking about it, or CJ talking about it. You're going to see PBS talking about this. You're going to see the most uber leftist liberal organizations talking about this, okay? Yet where's the outrage? Where's the outrage of Al Gore that funding a slave state like Qatar? He's actually giving money to them, to the ruling family, to
No,
keep
he's
the
taking
slave.
money
Well, I
from
mean,
them.
taking money from them, but in bed with them. How can he have a relationship with a slave state such as Qatar? I mean, from
I don't
just
know.
a
You
pure
would think
liberal.
all those Hollywood people would turn against him for that, right?
Yeah, they can get outraged by Nike, hiring workers over in Vietnam for slave labor or whatever, but they're
It's
bad
not
working
even
conditions.
slave labor.
Well, anyway, but
Yeah.
not to correct. Nike's
Yeah.
gotten a lot better at that. They're one of the actually premier organizations. But I'm
yeah.
not saying, but they can have their outrage against any corporation overseas
Well,
about how.
because that's capitalism.
Right, but
Which
they're not
is
even,
evil.
But they're not even slaves. They're actually
Which is
working for
evil.
$1 or $2 a day. We're
Yeah.
talking about actual slaves being as being brought into Qatar and all these other places. And where's the liberal outrage on Qatar, for that? Where's the liberal outrage on women's rights in Saudi Arabia? Where's the liberal outrage, for the killings of Christians in Egypt?
All over the world.
Where's the liberal outrage for, the killing of Muslims onto anybody in anywhere?
There is none. Yeah, the
That's what you-
silence,
that's-
chirp, chirp,
that was the-
chirp.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what you hear.
chirp, chirp, chirp. Yeah,
That's the liberal outrage you're hearing.
yeah.
And
Yeah, liberal outrage has no outlet right now because George Bush isn't the president. So you pretty much can't hear them talk about anything.
Can't blame Bush anymore.
Okay,
Very true.
you know
That is very
what?
Mike
Do you
on, Mike.
remember what was her name? She was really big, like 2007, 2000. Cindy Sheehan.
Cindy Sheehan, right?
Okay, you remember her? Okay, cause celeb. Okay, used to camp out in Crawford, Texas. Near near the Bush
Right.
Ranch. Everything else, and she was on TV 100 hours a day.
24/7, yeah.
Okay, you could not turn on any of the news channels except for Fox
Right.
and not see Cindy Sheehan. As soon as Barack Obama gets elected
Go it.
in 2008,
You get that dead air.
down the rabbit hole she goes because now, one of us is in the White House. Gee, and Americans are still being killed overseas? I guess we better not
we
let anybody
better-
talk about that.
We could go after Sarah. Sarah Palin.
Better go after
Palin.
Sarah Palin.
Yeah, we better make some other evil.
Yeah, who didn't win the election
Yeah.
and is out there in Alaska where nobody's really going to pay attention to anything that she's doing anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't have a real outrage on any real issue.
No.
And that's what makes my wife so upset. I mean, she's, like I said, she's a Democrat, and she says,
Okay,
if
what? I don't
if you-
think she is anymore.
Well, she is. She's actually a John F. Kennedy type of Democrat now.
Okay,
because
but that is not what the Democrats
I
are.
get it. I get it.
But she
and that's
knows
all-
it. She just doesn't want to say, I'm not one of them anymore.
I know. She just, because it's moved. She says all the time the Democrat Party has moved, so far left away from me
Yeah.
that I don't know where it's at anymore. He goes,
Yeah.
some of the stuff that they're talking about is just, why aren't they outraged about the treatment of women in the Middle East? Why aren't they outraged about them killing homosexuals? Where's the outrage? I hear none of this. I actually, as a liberal, have actually tried to go find these groups, and none of them exist
No, they don't.
because nobody.
And there's honor killings in the United States.
Happening-
And there are death threats in the United States for apostates who are Americans
Now imagine-
or living in America. And there are, lots of young girls at risk for certain cultural procedures that are being done.
No.
And the women are silent.
Well, let me give you an example, a real life example. When we did the Rifka Berry case, when we were
Right.
covering it, all right, at that point we had Fox News and some other, right? Fox totally bailed on the whole story.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the reporter down here who just like, oh, she's just a runaway kid. She's just trying to get away from
Yeah,
everything.
what was his name? That guy from Miami?
Yeah. So Phil Keating.
Right.
And
okay,
so
yeah.
and we're saying, Phil, no, it's not.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
he had
listen,
a
talk to her.
broken leg and he just didn't want to go up to Orlando and cover the story. That's what
He had
that
no-
was
he had
about.
no
He's like, oh man, I'm not going up there for this.
But he just listened to all the leftist, hype coming out of there about
Yeah.
it. Oh no, she's just trying to, she's making all this story up. And
Yeah.
come to find out, we went back there and went all the way to trial and everything like that. And at the end of the trial, everything she said was proven to be true,
Right.
and that and worse, which
And
they
worse,
didn't
which
release,
which didn't come out.
which we know about, which we haven't
know about, which we haven't released either.
for her. She's asked
for
not
her,
to.
yeah, for her privacy and protection.
And also, now imagine, at that time, Al Jazeera was down there reporting on this. Imagine if Al Jazeera would have been down there reporting a Rifka Berry story. All the people would have been going to Al Jazeera as the authority on Islam on this issue. So Al Jazeera, what do you think about what's going on with the Rifka Berry case? What do you
That's
think
a
is?
good point. That's a good point.
That's what I'm saying.
They
That's-
would have been asked as an authority on Islam, not as objective journalists.
Right.
What do you think about this? Well, who
Exactly.
went around and asked the Fox News guy what did he think about it? Nobody.
Nobody. We did.
Yeah,
And-
well, we did.
Yeah,
but we went around and asked everybody, what do you
and
think
so now when
about
they
it?
make these interrelationships inside the news networks, they're not just
Right.
coming to the Congress people. I mean, this has so many permutations. It is very sick because now you have Al Jazeera running around here being an authority on Islam for everything. No matter what happens in Islam, oh my God, they're the authority because
Yeah,
they're
we
Al
better
Jazeera.
call somebody at Al Jazeera
Jazeera to
and
get
ask
their-
them what they think
Yeah,
about
because
it.
I'm Bill O'Reilly here, and we have the reporter here from Al Jazeera. What do you think about it, Mr. Al Jazeera reporter? What's your take on the situation? Because you're a trusted news organization.
Huh.
And that's the point, because CARE has lost their prominence inside, the Fox News is where they're trying to get the counterbalance report on, what's the Islamic angle on this
Yeah,
thing.
well, Bill O'Reilly has had.
Oh, well, Bill
oh my
O'Reilly comes out there and
gosh.
says,
he comes out with CARE all the
Ibrahim
time.
Hooper
Yeah.
is, you're a stand-up individual.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what are you saying, Bill?
Yeah.
Now, imagine if Al Jazeera is out there floating around America as the preeminent authority on everything. And all they're doing is spreading dawah out of this book to Americans. And all you got to do is read the material.
I want to read out this number again because we had Cliff Kincaid of Accuracy in the Media on from 3 to 5 o'clock today,
Right.
and it was really, really informative. And this is something that you're going to be following up with as well. If you want to get involved with this issue of blocking Al Jazeera
Yes, give it
English
that number, please.
from coming into American television, you need to call Congressman Michael McCall. His office number is 202-226-8417. And this is for which committee? Homeland Security?
Yeah, I forget what the
Yeah,
committee
this
is,
Homeland Security. He's the new chairman of the committee, and encourage him to start
Yeah.
holding hearings into the sale of current TV to Al Jazeera.
And spell McCall because it's kind of a weird. M-A-M-C-C-A-U-L-L. U-L-L.
U-L-L.
Yeah, I just looked it up. But Michael
Yeah.
McCall, representative in Texas.
Yeah.
I think it's the 10th district or something like that.
And it's 202-226-8417. The switchboard will be closed now, but write it down and call
Call
them
them
first
tomorrow,
thing in the
right.
morning.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I'm sure they've had thousands of calls already.
No,
Oh, look at the time. Oh my gosh, that
Oh,
went
wow. Woohoo.
fast. Ah,
well, we're sorry we weren't as entertaining as Tom is.
Yeah,
We tried.
yeah.
So, but I hope you got a little information out of this. And tune back in to Trento Vision tomorrow as we get Kenny up to the board to cut us off to send us to the land of oblivion. Is Kenny? Take us off the air. Goodbye, everybody.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.